Every immigrant chases a dream. For Ekaette, America promised freedom, a better life, and a future built on love. She invested everything, her savings, her hope, and her trust in the man who held the key. But they say the green card is the key to freedom. For Ekaette, it was the key to a gilded cage. He promised marriage, but he delivered chains. He took her money, her labor, and her dignity. And when she fought back, he held the ultimate weapon. I will call immigration.
The city of Uyo moved at a pace of constant, restless ambition, and no one embodied that energy more than Ekaette. At 30, she possessed the serene beauty of a dark-skinned woman, but her life was a relentless testament to sacrifice. A dedicated polytechnic graduate, Ekaette had financed her schooling by working part-time, splitting her days between a low-paying data clerk job and braiding intricate hairstyles for local women in the evenings. Her meager earnings were never for luxury. She had successfully put two younger siblings through secondary school, carrying the financial weight of her entire family. She was weary, her education felt like a wasted effort, and her dreams of securing a better life through a well-paying job had repeatedly been blocked. She often confided in her best friend, Nkoyo, "The future here is a closed door, Nkoyo. I feel like I'm running on a treadmill that leads nowhere." The desperate dream of America, stoked by Nkoyo's success in the lottery, became Ekaette's sole prayer point, even after her own visa lottery application failed. That door, she believed, finally opened with the arrival of Okon for the Christmas holidays. Okon, in his 30s, exuded the golden glow of the American success story. He lived legally in Houston, Texas, and though his Uyo family was only moderately well off, Okon's tailored clothing and easy confidence suggested unlimited wealth. He targeted Ekaette immediately, his charm relentless. Their first date was at a quiet restaurant near the waterfront, where Okon spoke eloquently, not just about his tech job, but about Ekaette's potential. "A woman like you, Ekaette, with your drive, you should be managing projects, not tracking invoices. America is where true effort pays," he'd promised, holding her hand across the table. Ekaette, starved for genuine belief, fell sincerely and completely in love with the image he presented. As the weeks passed, their connection deepened, built on romantic strolls, shared laughter, and a growing hope for a joint future. When Okon formally proposed his plan, a fiancé visa invitation followed by immediate marriage, Ekaette was ecstatic. Only Nkoyo remained wary. "He is too fast, Ekaette. You met him during a holiday," Nkoyo cautioned, cornering Ekaette after church one Sunday. "Have you checked his life? Talked to his people in Houston? This American dream, sometimes it costs more than money." Ekaette, already planning the wedding, shook her head stubbornly. "Nkoyo, God sent this man. He has given me his word, he is sincere. Stop speaking fear over my blessing." Okon returned to Houston soon after, and 3 months later, the golden envelope containing her visa arrived. The departure was a seismic event. Her community organized a massive send-off party, showering her with prayers, blessings, and small gifts. On the day of her flight, the airport farewell was devastating. Her mother, flanked by her two younger siblings, clung to Ekaette, weeping uncontrollably. "My child, my strength," her mother cried, pressing a worn, folded Naira note into Ekaette's hand. Ekaette, gripping her passport and her small Bible, managed a shaky smile for her siblings. "Be strong. I will send money for the new semester soon. I will bring us all over." As she walked toward immigration, turning back for one last look at her tear-streaked family, Ekaette felt the heavy, exhilarating weight of responsibility. She believed she was flying to her destiny, unaware that she was flying straight into a carefully constructed trap. The transition from the humid, vibrant chaos of Uyo to the sterile, sprawling suburbs of Houston, Texas, was jarring. Okon's townhome was spacious and modern, but the silence inside felt heavy. In the first few weeks, Okon played the part of the devoted fiancé perfectly. He was affectionate, driving her around to see the huge malls and wide roads, but the constant refrain of indebtedness was the subtle poison he administered daily. "Look at this life, Ekaette," he'd say, gesturing around the quiet, air-conditioned rooms. "You would never have seen this life without me. Your struggles are over because I decided to bring you here." The clock on the wall was Ekaette's greatest enemy. The 90-day K-1 visa period was a countdown to security or ruin, and Okon was in no rush. He had been insistent on the marriage before her arrival, but now he had a new, frustrating excuse every time she raised the topic. "The registry office in this county is notoriously slow," he complained one day, sighing dramatically. "We must be patient. If we rush, the immigration services may question the legitimacy of our intent. You wouldn't want to jeopardize the entire green card process, would you, darling?" Ekaette swallowed her mounting fear, knowing she was entirely at his mercy. Soon, the transactional nature of his affection became painfully clear. Okon's sweet words disappeared, replaced by the expectation of servitude. "You are home all day, Ekaette," he announced one morning, sliding a stack of dirty laundry toward her. "I pay for this roof over your head, and I work hard. You need to start earning your keep. I expect my meals cooked and the house immaculate." Then came the financial demand. When Ekaette finally found a grueling job as a home healthcare aide, a job that required no legal status and paid cash under the table, Okon was thrilled. "Excellent work, my wife. Now, we open a joint account. Everything you earn is for our savings and future," he declared, though he insisted the account remain solely under his name until after the marriage. Ekaette was reduced to a frightened silence, watching her own two hands work for a man who had already secured all the marriage privileges, her labor, her affection, and her financial trust, while continuously postponing the only thing that guaranteed her safety. The subtle cruelty quickly became overt bondage. Once Ekaette began working long, grueling shifts as a home healthcare aide, Okon decided his own responsibilities were over. He quit his high-tech job, claiming, with a dramatic sigh, that the American corporate world was stressing him out, and he needed a sabbatical. This sabbatical was entirely financed by Ekaette's small, hard-earned salary. Ekaette was often gone from dawn until late evening, navigating the difficult work of caring for the elderly and infirm, constantly exposed to the risk of exposure since her cash-paying job required no legal status. She had the job, the exhaustion, and the responsibility, but Okon had the bank account and the legal power. 1 month into this new arrangement, Ekaette returned home, her body aching and her soul drained, only to find the electricity cut off, the air conditioning silent, the refrigerator warm. She had specifically sent the money for the light bill days ago. Just then, Okon pulled up to the townhome, his car gleaming with a brand new set of expensive, chrome rims. The sight of the frivolous expenditure alongside their financial crisis snapped the last thread of Ekaette's patience. She met him at the door, dropping her heavy work bag. "Okon, what is this? The light is off. I called the electric company, they said the bill was never paid." "Where did the money go?" she cried, desperation heavy in her voice. "I worked 16 hours yesterday, Okon. Where did that money go? How can you be so careless? Okon smirked, adjusting the collar of his designer t-shirt. Respectable car. You think I don't deserve a little comfort for the stress of managing your life? Ekaette pressed him, her voice trembling but resolute. Your comfort is costing us a functioning home. And what about the wedding? The 90 days are long gone. I have no papers, Okon. You are playing with my life. That was the trigger. Okon's face hardened into a terrifying mask of rage. He stood up, towering over her, his voice dropping to a low, lethal snarl. You speak of bills? You speak of rights? You forget your position, Ekaette. You forget that your value here is 0. You have no papers, woman. You are an illegal alien, and your visa is expired. You make noise in my house. You make trouble for me. I will call immigration tonight. They will put you on a flight back to Uyo before your mother even knows you are gone. The threat was a weapon far sharper than any knife. Ekaette's courage collapsed instantly into paralyzed fear, realizing her American dream hadn't just been postponed, it had been hijacked by a monster who now held the key to her freedom, and her greatest fear. The threat of deportation hung over Ekaette like a permanent, dark storm cloud. She retreated into herself, working double shifts and saying almost nothing at home, living her life only for the small remittances she managed to stash away and send to her mother in secret. Her only respite came from the small, vibrant garden outside their townhome, which belonged to her neighbor, Mark. Mark, a kind, soft-spoken white American man in his mid-30s, often saw Ekaette coming and going. He recognized the profound sadness in her eyes, a sadness that contradicted the designer life Okon bragged about. One quiet evening, as Ekaette was watering the small patch of flowers she adopted near their walkway, Mark approached her. Good evening, Ekaette, Mark said warmly, his eyes gentle. The flowers always look thirsty here. You have a good hand for them. He then paused, his expression shifting to one of genuine concern. I know Ekaette has been going through a rough patch. But I've noticed you look exhausted. My wife and I host a small house fellowship every Wednesday. We simply read the Bible, pray, and share a meal. It's a place where we carry each other's weight. We'd love for you both to come. Ekaette was immediately touched, but also instantly terrified. Okon had strictly forbidden any religious gatherings, sneering at them as time-wasting activities for weak minds. She smiled weakly. Thank you, Mark. That is a kind invitation. But Okon is very busy with his high-tech work, his schedule is unpredictable. Mark nodded, understanding more than she realized. I understand. But Ekaette, faith isn't a business schedule, it's a source of strength. You look like you need strength, my friend. His words, my friend, and his genuine, unburdened compassion caused a powerful flicker of hope within Ekaette. That night, she confronted Okon about the invitation. Mark invited us to his fellowship, Okon. Just for 1 hour of prayer. Okon erupted, his voice cold and hard. Fellowship? Are you crazy, Ekaette? You think you have the time to waste with these white people, reading old books? No. Do not go near that man or his prayer group. You are my investment, and I need you focused on making money, not wasting time praying for an empty future. If you step 1 foot in that man's house, I will know you are planning to run, and I will call immigration on you so fast you will think it was a dream. Ekaette shrank back, her heart sinking. She was caught between the suffocating grip of a monster and the forbidden call of a spiritual haven. The threat of deportation hung over Ekaette like a permanent, dark storm cloud. She retreated into herself, working double shifts and saying almost nothing at home, living her life only for the small remittances she managed to stash away and send to her mother in secret. That night, Ekaette tried one last time to talk to him, to plead, to reason. Okon, please. I've been patient. You promised we'd go to the courthouse this month. I just need to feel safe. My visa. He cut her off sharply. Visa, visa, visa. Is that all you ever talk about? His laughter was cold. You think I don't know what you're doing? You want to trap me into marriage so you can get papers, ABI? Ekaette's voice cracked. Okon, that's not true. I love you. I left everything in Nigeria because you said we'd build a life here together. He leaned back, eyes burning with contempt. Well, plans change. And if you think you can pressure me, I'll show you who's in control. Her heart stilled. What do you mean? Okon smirked and reached for his phone. You think I'm joking? I've already reported you. Immigration will be here soon. Let them come and carry you back to wherever you came from. Her knees went weak. You called immigration on me? He shrugged. Actions have consequences, Ekaette. Maybe next time, you won't bite the hand feeding you. Tears welled in her eyes as she stared at him, this man she had trusted, defended, even starved for. The reality hit her like a slap. He would rather destroy her than let her go free. While he went to the kitchen muttering about her ungratefulness, Ekaette's instinct screamed run. She grabbed her handbag, the one she'd kept hidden under the couch with her passport, and tiptoed to the door. Just as she twisted the knob, he called out, Ekaette. Her blood froze. But when he stepped out and saw the terror in her eyes, she bolted, barefoot, into the cold, breath ragged, heartbreaking. Mark reacted instantly, recognizing the profound terror in Ekaette's eyes and the fear-fueled desperation of her flight. Go. Get in my car, now, he commanded, pulling her toward his vehicle. As they sped away from Okon's neighborhood, Mark immediately called the one person he trusted implicitly in times of crisis, Adaora. Adaora, a highly respected Nigerian woman in her late 30s, known for her fierce faith and community service, immediately offered refuge. A dark-skinned African woman with a warm, commanding presence, Adaora enveloped Ekaette in a protective embrace, settling her into a small, windowless storage room she had quickly tidied. Welcome, my dear, Adaora said gently. God brought you here. This is a place of rest. You are safe from that foolish boy now. Ekaette cried tears of relief, grateful to be protected by a sister from her own culture. Later that week, recognizing Ekaette's need for normalcy, Mark insisted on taking her out. He wasn't subtle about his intention to treat her with dignity. It's not a date, Ekaette, he explained, smiling warmly. It's a meal where you don't have to look over your shoulder, paid for by the church. You are a valued human being, not a criminal. Ekaette, desperate for a few hours of escape, dressed in the simple deep red cotton dress she had brought from Uyo, her best dress. She felt a nervous flutter as she emerged. Mark, a single white American man in his late 30s, dressed in neat khakis and a polo shirt, waited for her. He looked genuinely excited, his eyes shining with open admiration for her courage. They drove to a quiet, locally owned Italian restaurant with dim lighting and red checkered tablecloths. It was the first time Ekaette had been in a public space in Houston where she felt truly safe. Over simple plates of pasta, Ekaette slowly began to talk. "I feel so much shame, Mark," she admitted, twisting the napkin in her hands. "I came here on a lie, a fool for love and a green card." Mark put down his fork. "The shame is Okon's, Ekaette, not yours. You acted in love, and you acted with faith. God doesn't judge you by your visa status. He judges you by your heart, and you have a warrior's heart." His affirmation was profoundly healing. "Thank you, Mark. I've forgotten what it feels like to be seen as a person, and not a thing." "Then let's keep forgetting," Mark replied, offering a gentle smile. Adora, having spotted Mark's car driving away from the townhome complex, had secretly followed them. She watched through the restaurant window as Mark laughed easily with Ekaette, the sight igniting a cold, bitter flame of jealousy. The morning after the dinner, the small storage room Ekaette had turned into a makeshift bedroom was invaded. Adora barged in without knocking, her face tight with anger. "Out! Get up!" Adora shouted, tossing a stack of dirty dish rags onto Ekaette's meager blanket. "You think you are on a holiday, madam? Going out for fancy Italian meals, distracting a man of God? This is not a dating service." Ekaette scrambled up, pulling her scarf tighter. "Adora, Mark just wanted me to eat a meal and feel safe. It was not a date." "Safe? Safety comes from submission and diligence, not pasta." Adora leaned closer, her voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "I know how this game works. A desperate girl, an expired visa, a white sponsor. I know what you are scheming, but you will not use my house to pursue my blessing. You are taking up my electricity, my water, and my focus. You need to earn your keep. You will clean every tile in this house on your hands and knees today. Understand me, you are a burden, and burdens must prove their worth." Later that week, Ekaette tried desperately to appease her host. She spent her precious hours cooking a generous pot of afang soup, complete with freshly shipped Nigerian vegetables and smoked fish, a gesture of respect and connection. She found Adora sitting on the sofa, scrolling through her phone. "Adora, please, come and eat," Ekaette offered softly, setting a steaming, fragrant bowl before her. "I made afang soup. I know you are also from our region. I hoped it would remind you of home. Please, sit with me. I need your advice as an older sister here." Adora didn't look up immediately. When she did, her eyes were cold. She pushed the bowl away with a fingertip. "I already ate. And I told you, you need to stop wasting time on heavy, native food. You are in America now. You need to focus on what matters." "Advice?" "My advice is to stop seeing yourself as a beggar who needs coddling. I am not your senior friend. I am the woman the Lord is preparing a destiny for, and you are just a distraction that needs to be disciplined before you spoil it." Ekaette felt a wave of despair wash over her. Adora's spiritual pride was impenetrable. Feeling utterly consumed by resentment, Adora called her trusted friend, Christiana, and met her at a neutral coffee shop. "Sister, I need your prayer," Adora confided, her voice shaking with righteous indignation as she vented about Ekaette snaring Mark. "He is taking her out, buying her clothes, neglecting our fellowship duties. This girl is a snake. She is trying to steal the blessing the Lord intended for me, right out of my house." Christiana, a fellow Nigerian woman of the same age, listened patiently. When Eudora finished her tirade, Christiana spoke with firm, but loving, conviction. Eudora, my sister. I love you, but the enemy is not Ekaette. The enemy is the jealousy in your heart. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians, love does not envy. If the Lord intends Mark for you, then no refugee or snake can steal him away. Your job right now is not to guard Mark. Your job is to guard the vulnerable soul God delivered to your doorstep. If you send her away in bitterness, you will lose the blessing, because you failed the test of compassion. Christiana's words were a direct spiritual challenge, but Eudora was too blinded by jealousy to accept the rebuke. She stood up abruptly, shaking her head. You don't understand, Christiana. You just don't understand the sacrifice I made. I will not allow her to spoil my future. Eudora left the coffee shop. The seed of envy fully matured into the fruit of self-justification and unforgiveness. Ekaette's fate was sealed. Eudora's cruelty, fueled by her deep-seated jealousy of Mark's attention, was now overt and relentless. She stopped treating Ekaette as a guest and began treating her as an enemy and a trespasser. She rationed the food, demanded Ekaette perform tedious, specific chores at odd hours, and openly mocked her desperate situation, wrapping her meanness in distorted biblical language. One morning, Ekaette had just finished scrubbing the kitchen floor. Exhausted from 2 hours of hard cleaning, she stood up to wipe her brow. Eudora immediately entered for her inspection. You call this clean, Ekaette? Eudora asked, her voice tight with disdain, running a white cloth over the already spotless counter. There is still a shadow here. The Lord demands excellence. Are you doing this to Mark's house when you visit? No, I see how hard you try for him. You are lazy in the work that matters. Ekaette lowered her head. I am trying my best, Eudora. I am grateful for your roof. Grateful? Eudora scoffed. Gratefulness is action, not words. You are draining my resources, and you have not contributed 1 naira to my household since you arrived. You think you can use my house as a hiding place while you set your eyes on the blessing God prepared for me? The Lord sees your heart, Ekaette. You are running on empty. You need to be refined by fire. Later that evening, Eudora stood over Ekaette while she was reading her Bible in the small storage room, her hands placed firmly on her hips. The moment had arrived. I have reached my decision, Ekaette, Eudora declared, her tone cold and final. You must leave. I cannot allow the enemy to operate under my roof. You are a snare to a godly man and a distraction to my spiritual focus. Every time Mark calls, it is for you. Every time I open my mouth, it is to correct you. The Lord is telling me to separate myself from this drama. Ekaette placed her Bible down calmly. Though her heart pounded, her voice was steady and quiet, ringing with a profound, newfound clarity. I understand that you want me to go, Eudora. And I will go. But please, do not lie to God or to yourself about the reason. Eudora bristled. Lie? I am speaking the truth of the Spirit. No, Eudora, Ekaette said gently, meeting her eyes. The enemy is not me. The Bible says in James, the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, full of mercy, and without partiality and hypocrisy. Ekaette paused, letting the words sink in. Your spirit has been consumed by jealousy over Mark. True community does not punish the broken, and true Christian love does not compete for attention. You are punishing me for a future God has not yet revealed to you. Adora's face twisted in fury. Get out. I will not be judged by an illegal alien begging for a visa. Leave my property now. And if you tell Mark what I have said, I will tell everyone that you were sleeping with Okon for papers. Go. Ekaette did not argue. She calmly packed her small work bag, clutching her Bible, her last few dollars securely fastened inside. She walked out the door and into the Houston night, leaving the false sanctuary behind. She felt utterly alone and homeless, having been betrayed by two Nigerians, one fueled by greed, the other by envy. The streets felt cold and immense.
Hello friends, it's your personal person, Cha. Thank you for watching and for being a part of this family. Please like and subscribe for more wisdom tales. See you in the next video.